No, Scooter, I'm going to pass it to you. I'm sure there are lots of Easter eggs, buried treasure, interesting experiences if someone steps foot on Tobacco Road's property. How do you all think about the guest experience, recognizing that, many of the folks who are playing might be their first time, there, and maybe who knows when the next time they're back. So when you think about guest experience, how do you all think about your strategy and maybe give us some insights into any Easter eggs that you have on the property?
Yeah, so again, I think it's all kind of centered around, customer service just from an operating standpoint. How can we obviously make the guest experience better from the time they arrive on property, whether that's at the bag drop, certain touch points of when, the customer and the staff can interact, whether it's in the golf shop. We feel like our starters, just being Tobacco Road, especially the first time people play it, they're visually intimidated. So the starters kind of give them some more information. So that's a big point that, they're giving them the correct information. Then just small touches. I mean, we've obviously got new golf carts, which is something everybody does, but we put towels in the carts, some custom aluminum water, stuff like that that we're trying to change that they haven't done here before. So as demand and stuff keeps going and the rates continue to climb, what that expectation obviously goes up, and so we're just trying to, which is certainly fair, and we're just trying to make sure that we provide value. But we're obviously, like I said, we're on a different scale than Sand Valley and Cabot at the moment, but we're looking to see maybe if, on course comfort stations with, food and beverage, stuff like that would help, increase the customer experience.
That's great. Glenn, anything to add that you're seeing kind of across the value chain, maybe even on the goods and services side? Any up and coming themes that resorts you're working with are doing or experimenting with? Obviously was recently at Omni PGA Frisco. They've got, the margarita slushy stand right in the middle of the course. Just little things like that that kind of bring the personality. What are you all seeing from the Buffalo Group side across your portfolio?
For sure, yeah, it's those memorable experiences. It's that meal or that drink or that cigar or whatever it is that they kind of walk away from and say, okay, I can clearly remember that. In addition to all the great golf, or maybe it wasn't so great golf that they played, they walked away with like, I remember that food I had at the turn, or that drink that was, so cleverly named and tasted so good because I was in this mindset that just had me to a place where I was so happy, I was so relaxed, I was so much enjoying the experience. So how can you leverage something like that? And we tend to see a lot of our clients, their customers will actually post that out on social media. They're going to post, glamour shots of the golf course, but then they're going to post some of those other pieces as part of the experience as well, the F&B element of it, the merch side of it too, just the creativity of the merch that we're seeing in pro shops and the various brands. We do a lot of work with Swag Golf, and they've got some really unique products that they've created, and how they've gone from a drop culture to now being available in these pro shops. So, yeah, we're seeing some really cool things, some really fun activations as well on the brand partnership side. So, aligning with brands that are headquartered in your area, or brands that just make sense. Don't don't be shy about reaching out to these brands and sharing a creative idea with them, with your property. You'd be surprised the responsiveness that you would receive. So that type of activation of brands that really align and have kind of the same thinking is something that we've seen really work incredibly well.
Love it. Love it. Mike, something to add there?
Yeah, I was just going to chime in. I think it's great to have those sort of signature flourishes, right? It's Cabot, and just picking up on what Glenn said, we've got these amazing Cabot cookies that you get on the first tee, and it's unique to the course you're playing, right? It's so if you're in Florida, you're going to get a different cookie than you get in Cape Breton and St. Lucia, and they're all made by local bakeries, right? So it's sort of embracing the spirit of the location that we're in, and so you get a cookie that's of the place on the first tee. Then you get to the first green, you sink your putt, and then you get the gong. We have gong cups across all Cabot locations, and so it's a little bit of surprise and delight for people who've never been to a Cabot before. It's like, what's that noise? As your ball hits the bottom of the cup. And so, those sorts of things leave lasting memories. The Instagram moments at Cabot, we have Cabot couches, which are a big sort of hit on Instagram for us and across social media. And when you get to the end of your round and you want to sit back on your favorite beverage, there's a couch at the, overlooking the 18th green or, outdoors where you can sort of you can sit and welcome the rest of your group that's in the four ball behind you. Yeah. Those are sort of signature things that, that leave a lasting impression, right? People think about Cabot and they think about the cookie on the first tee. They think about the couch on the 18th green. And that sort of puts you in people's consciousness a little bit, right? Their likelihood to recommend goes up if they have those little flourishes they can talk about.
Yeah, Mike, the Gong Cup made me feel a lot better about my four putt on number one with those updated greens.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Unfortunately,
forgot
it
about it
doesn't
real
show up on the
quick.
scorecard. Yeah.
Jordan, anything to finish? I know you guys have some Easter eggs kind of all across the guest journey. Anything to add there on unique, little things? You mentioned the F&B, but little things that make folks really say, man, I want to go back to Sand Valley next year for my buddy's trip.
Yeah, for sure. I think it first starts, any high-end resort, you're going to be met with friendly people. But for those who have not been to Wisconsin, right, we are a group of overly friendly individuals. So at every single corner, every single touch point that you walk around Sand Valley, you're going to immediately be greeted with a smiling face and a hi, how are you? Can I help you in any way? So I think that's first and foremost. Obviously touched on the food and beverage experience a little bit, earlier. $1 tacos, $2 beers. It's a great spot to hang out after your round. Enjoy some time with your friends. Watch everyone come in, and then it's just other little touch points. Whether in a 4-bedroom residence, we're gonna stock your fridge with frozen pizzas for those late night snacks and those ice cream sandwiches and things of that nature. So tons of different unique touch points that you get throughout Sand Valley that really make that experience special and gets people talking about it with their buddies and coming back year in and year out.
Yeah, I think when I had a conversation with Chris Kaiser, and he mentioned when they were looking at the shower heads in the residences, and I don't know if you want to tell the story about the famous shower heads in the lodging, right?
Yeah, that just the ultimately the water pressure will get every bit of sand off you that is possible. So yeah, I think when we were going through the building process, they went through 75, 100 different shower heads to find the perfect one, and remove the flow restrictors from all of it so that you get the best possible shower after walking 36 holes, and you have sand most likely everywhere.
Love it. Yeah, little things like that, that obsession with, mapping out the guest journey and thinking about any little place that you can kind of create that surprise and delight, wow experience, over the top, almost little things.